Today, I continue my preseason 2023 NFL Draft deep dive by going over the offensive interior class. And if I could sum this up in one word, this class is old. Honestly, a lot of these guys could have came out last year or this past season and been day 2 picks. But no, we're going to see a few of them in this class. I'm going to go over a couple of guys who didn't make my top 10 at the end of the video. So hang with me tight. By the way, what's crack-a-lackin'? It's your boy Broshmo, just in case you did not know. So if you were looking for more prospect rankings, I've already gone over the wide receiver and the cornerback class. And we're going to hit up edge tomorrow, and that one's a doozy. I'm also continuing my deep dive series as I go through each and every NFL team and come up with a realistic outcome prediction for them going into the 2022 NFL season. But let's go ahead, get into it. Starting at number 10, I got Emil Ekiyor Jr. out of Alabama. He was actually initially a 4-star recruit out of the 2018 class. His father played for the Atlanta Falcons for a little bit, but he redshirted his freshman season. And then he saw a little playing time at guard in 2019. He won the starting right guard job in 2020 and has started every game since. He proceeded to start just all the games in 2021. And now he is back for another helping of things. He'll be 23 by the time he is drafted. So by the time of his first NFL starter by the beginning of the NFL season. Let's talk about him, because this is a guy that we've seen in a few first-round mocks, and the dude has an ideal frame. This guy has the frame that the NFL is looking for. I can fully believe this guy can be a day 2 pick. He's got a nice sturdy frame, good core strength. He absorbs contact pretty well. He could absorb strong bull rushers well. He plays with a wide base, shows pretty good movement skills, quick feet. He can be utilized in his own blocking scheme. He adjusts well on the fly and looks very comfortable in close quarters or even out in space. Dude has NFL strength. He has pop in his hands. A big year, honestly, probably makes this guy a day 2 pick. I think ultimately that's probably where he'll fall at the end of the year for me, depending on how the season goes. But if it goes well, probably a day 2 pick. I don't see that first round upside, at least just yet. And let's kind of go into the cons on why. He didn't really take that second leap last season that I expected as being the full starter, being the starter for a full season. Much like many Alabama linemen, he tends to overextend and play out ahead of himself in the run game, so he plays a bit off balance in that aspect. And despite the size, I don't think he really had the power to. He didn't really show power, dominating power, or this imposing power like you'd expect. I didn't really see that nastiness in his mentality that the NFL so much covets. He did struggle versus twitchier and quicker defenders on the interior, allowed 17 pressures and against teams like Miami, Tennessee, which Tennessee had Matthew Butler, the Aggies, Texas A&M, they had DeMarvin Leal. And then Georgia, we already know the interiors of Georgia were kind of nuts. But in those 4 games, he allowed 17 pressures. But a guy that definitely could make that day 2 leap. Going to number 10, still with the day 3 grade, I got Jarrett Patterson at a Notre Dame. Guys just honestly could have came out last year. Don't know why he did. But 4-star recruit from the 2018 class, appeared in 3 games as a freshman, but started every game in 2019 at center. Has started every game since. He returned this past year with that extra year of eligibility from COVID. Now, Patterson, dude's straight up. He's a good center. He's been an excellent starter since getting the nod in 2019. He's never allowed a sack throughout his career. He does a good job of moving his feet. He's one of the more technically sound interior players in this class. That kind of comes with the territory. He's a Notre Dame prospect. Typically, they're pretty technically sound. He does a good job in movement, getting to the second level, making big time blocks. I think he is probably best suited for an outside zone blocking scheme that can put him in motion. The coaches there at Notre Dame, they rave about his work ethic, him being a high football IQ player. He's been a team captain for the last few seasons, but when it comes down to it, he's not physically imposing, and he's just not a tremendous athlete. I just don't see the upside with this guy, and that's typically what you're looking for from your first rounders, from your day 2 guys. Though just being a solid player probably could put him in that 3rd round discussion. He's pretty middling in those categories, obviously being strength and athleticism. He's tall for center, sitting there at 6'5". Really could work on leverage. Stronger interior players tend to give him fits, and he could strengthen his lower body and set better anchors. Penalties were an issue this past season, as he had 12. So just a few things of why I don't have him currently as a day 2 guy. Honestly, a guy that probably should have came out in the 2022 draft class. By the way, become a bro and subscribe. Leave this video a thumbs up if you enjoy the content. As always, let me know what you think in the comment section below. Let's have that nice, beautiful football discourse. And the popular thing now to do on YouTube, if you really support the channel, is to share the video. So go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead, get back to the nitty gritty. This next guy at number 8, I'm very excited for. Otistorrance, out of Florida, but the dude was a transfer, and we'll get to that. He was formerly a 3-star recruit out of the 2019 class. He remained committed to Louisiana Lafayette despite getting offers from SEC schools late in his recruitment process. He saw significant playing time almost immediately in the opener, and then he became a starter in their 2nd game, has started every game in 2020. In 2021, he was a first-team All-Sun Belt, and then he decided to follow his head coach to Florida as Billy Napier. He got hired there at Florida. This dude, nice sturdy build. Just look at it. 6'5", 332. He's got great length for the position as well. There's a lot of power in his frame. He easily absorbs contact. I love this dude's grip strength. Once he latches on those big meaty hooks, he ain't letting you go. Just imposes his will on defenders. He looks like he's looking to bury a guy every run play, and the NFL just loves that. They're going to eat this guy up. On top of that, he has improved each year as a pass protector and has never allowed a sack throughout his career. He has a very good understanding of blocking angles and does his best work in close quarters. He does a very good job of climbing to the 2nd level, and often just really needs one arm to do so. He'll take out the first guy with one arm and prepare for that linebacker in the 2nd level, and God bless that linebacker's soul. God bless. A few of the cons. Dude back in his junior year in high school was 420 pounds. And he has cut down an extraordinary amount of weight. It's just kind of something to monitor. Is that something like that will have to be followed through the NFL? He have to be a guy that, you know, you have to have these strict dietary restrictions. That's the word I'm looking for. Just something to monitor, because it was an issue early on or late into his high school career. He can play a bit high at times, you know, being 6'5", kind of have the tall offensive lineman problem where guys easily get under his pads, but he's so sturdy it almost doesn't even matter. Not the most fluent athlete at 332. I know, you're not surprised. He does look stiff when moving laterally, which could shoot him down some boards, especially with the NFL adopting more of these outside zone blocking schemes and pulling concepts. He could be a bit more precise with how he uses his hands, where he puts his hands, and sometimes he does overextend, but I really look forward to watching him there at Florida. And then at number 7, I got Rickey Stromberg out of Arkansas. The dude was a 4-star recruit out of 2019. He became the starter in the 2nd game of his freshman season there at right guard. He made the move to left guard, actually, I believe, in what was it? Let me see. Now, he would start one game at right guard and then moved to left guard, and then he moved to center in 2020. There we go. Playing every game there, or playing every game except for the finale. He remained at center for 2021, finished the 2nd team All SEC, and he was on the Remington Trophy watch list, which is top centers in college football. Dude has a nasty demeanor. The NFL is gonna love this guy. He has that just, I'm gonna bury you each and every play. I like that. The NFL loves that. He does a good job of of getting to the point of attack and just imposing his physicality. He shows great pop in his hands, good grip strength, good blocking ankles. He does a great job of climbing to the second level. He actually has pretty quick feet, never stops. I love a guy that just keeps churning the feet. I love that. Coaches, teammates, they rave about his work ethic and leadership, all positives. Now with Stromberg, he may play with a ton of physicality, but there are some times where he gets bent at the waist, which, you know, that's typically a core strength issue. He can do a better job of consistently getting and maintaining leverage. There's sometimes he will overextend and be a bit of a lunger at the second level. And if you're not new to the channel, you know I don't love lungers. It was my problem with Doug Kramer last year, who, for all intents and purposes, he was a day 3 guy, but I don't like a guy that could just kind of lays out blindlessly at times. Now, he does appear limited laterally and has struggled with penalties throughout his career, 18 penalties through his career. So again, something to monitor this season. At number 6, I got Cedric Van Praan, and this guy, he's been on high on a lot of people's boards, or at least when it comes to their offensive interior rankings, and I can see why. Like, this dude could take a huge leap in 2022. It won't surprise me if he does, but for now, like, for the prospect that he is, because there's a lot of things that, like, okay, if he doesn't take leaps in these areas, yeah, I could see him maybe returning for another year, because yeah, the dude has the build and the capability of being a first-round interior player. He was a 4-star recruit out of the 2020 class. During high school, he also participated in shot put, discus, and javelin. Redshirted his freshman season, but it was immediately the starter in 2021 at center, and he had more snaps than any other Bulldog on the team. I love that. I love me an Iron Man. Dude's just a good overall athlete for the position, has good length, shows some good foot speed when on the move, climbing to the second level. I love that he keeps a good anchor and he shows good core strength. You'll never see this guy get bent backwards. He has that nasty demeanor the NFL loves, which again, that's kind of be a redundant point when it comes to these interior players. And the dude's he's got pop in his hands. Now, what I don't love about him right now is the dude's always on the ground in the run game. Go back to the national championship game, and this cat was on the ground a lot. He lunges at blocks once he gets to that second level, and he lunges on when he's that pulling blocker, and it's just I don't love it. I don't love that about him. He's probably one of the guys, like, out of the guys on this top 10 list, he's probably the one that does that the most. And like, literally, it was just so eye-popping to me watching the national championship game. I was just like, my gosh, my dude, come on. Like, it's not like he's on the ground because he's weak or he's getting outmaneuvered. He's on the ground because he is trying to go at blockers or go at defenders. He's just darting himself. He's literally a lawn dart. That's what it is. But he could also do a better job of keeping his feet moving on initial contact, and this was something I saw in pass protection. And his overall awareness and what's going on around him needs to get better, and I expect that to get better in year 2 of being a full-time starter. So that's probably one area I'm like, yeah, no, this guy's going to be a lot better at that, but a very good prospect. Expect him to take probably a big leap by the end of the year. I got a lot of faith in him, and I'm kind of like kicking myself for not projecting him a bit higher. And then on to number 5, John Michael Schmidt. Schmitz. Now, JMS. Dude was a 3-star recruit out of the 2017 class, and yes, he's going to be one of the older prospects in this class. He wrestled in high school, ended up redshirting his freshman year, and mostly played on special teams in 2018. But in 2019, he saw a significant step up elevation of playing time, and despite only making 4 starts, he saw over 450 snaps there. He started in every game in the shortened Big Ten season there in 2020, and then in 2021 he started every game. He ended up being a second team all Big Ten. He did injure his left foot in their bowl game, but it didn't impact, but I don't think that impacted his decision to return, as he announced that before he got hurt prior to the bowl game. So The dude's feisty. Dude's a feisty center. He doesn't possess, I would say, overwhelming strength. However, he combines, however, that like the dude plays with, like, he plays with physicality. It's just he doesn't have that overwhelming strength you would expect. But the dude's gritty. He's got that mean demeanor that just spells, hey, defenders, you're gonna have a bad time with me today. He's got these long, meaty hooks for arms, and once he latches on, dude, like, good luck. You're gonna be dancing with him till the end of the play. You're not gonna go find another dancing partner. You're stuck with him. He shows good footwork and contact balance. He has the body type to play either guard spot in the NFL. Shows the movement skills necessary to do so as well. He likes to attack the point of contact and drives through blocks, making him a natural for a gap blocking scheme. But I kind of like talked about that earlier, that the NFL's largely, they're moving to this outside zone blocking scheme. A lot of teams are. Now with JMS, he's strong, but there are times this dude's getting thrown on the ground. He is a natural mover, but I wouldn't say he is this elite athlete. Doesn't have elite quicks, doesn't have elite twitch. Physicality doesn't, like, with his physicality, he just doesn't have the look of a first rounder, and honestly, age isn't on this guy's side either. He is going to be 24 by the time he makes his first NFL start, if that's, again, at the start of the 2023 season. But overall, I liked him a lot as a prospect. Again, I love those gritty guys too that just grind out every rep. And then number 4, I got Christian Mahogany out of Boston College. Dude was a 3-star recruit out of the 2019 class. He redshirted his freshman season and then started at left guard in 2020. Then in 2021, he moved to right guard since Zion Johnson was moving back to left guard. This dude's a mauler. Like, he can easily overwhelm defenders with his explosive lower body, and his legs just continue to drive through the play. He's like a machine in that regard. He shows good movement skills as well as climbing to the second level and just obliterating linebackers. He has a thick build and shows good core strength when taking on bull rushers. One of his best games came against Clemson when he just manhandled guys like Myles Murphy, which, if you don't know, Myles Murphy has been one of my favorite prospects during this whole summer deep dive. That dude's just a physical specimen. Mahogany, he throws these jarring blows, and that's kind of like fits into this guy's a mauler. He's a brawler. He likes to throw hands and lay hands. He can literally halt the momentum of rushers just in their tracks. He's received high praises from head coach Jeff Hafley, who compared him to former first-round pick. I say former, hasn't played a snap in the NFL yet, but Zion Johnson. So again, very, very good praise right there. Cons, dude does have a bit of an awkward stance, kind of being, which it's not even like he's that tall, but he's kind of hunched over, but it hasn't really worked to his detriment yet, but it doesn't really affect his get off either. So could be a non-worry, just something I noticed. I was like, it looks kind of goofy. But he typically relies on that thick frame to contain quicker pass rushers, since I would say he has middling length, which again, that's kind of something hard to judge. It's kind of just giving it the eye test. We won't really know about his length until he measures out on his pro day or at the combine. But I would say his quicks are average for the position, but a prospect that I'm very excited for. I like him a lot. And then we get to, I think, these 3. No one's really touching these 3 right now. And I'm going to start with my, I would say 2B, but he's my number 3. It's Cooper Beebe out of Kansas State. Dude, 3-star recruit from the 2019 class. He was originally a defensive tackle, but made the move to the offensive side of the ball when he arrived there. At Kansas State, he played basketball and competed in shot put in high school and placed 3rd in state for shot put. He only played 1 game as a freshman, so he ended up using his red shirt. And then he started 7 games at right tackle before moving to left guard in the 2020 season. He did miss a game, but it was an undisclosed injury, so probably a non-issue. In 2021, he started all 13 games at left tackle, was named first team all Big 12, but probably going to be a guard in the NFL. Just going to say that. We'll get, let's talk about it right now. So this dude just has a guard build, like straight up, like doesn't have ideal length to stick there at tackle, and he's mainly facing these 3-man fronts in the Big 12. So it's like, he's a guard. He's got a guard build. I like him in that regard. Now sometimes he'll lose off the snap, just based on, like, he's laid off the snap, plain and simple. Sometimes, again, you get into this top 50 area and you start nitpicking guys. So there are times I noticed he was laid off the snap. There are times where he plays high and he loses leverage. These things, they're far and few between. As a run blocker, he can be overly aggressive and turn into a bit of a lunger. But when it comes to BB, this dude plays really light for a 320-pounder. He can be a stretch blocker. He's very athletic for his build, but he can still jam. He's jam-packed with a ton of power in that frame. Like, he can overwhelm defenders right from the point of attack. Plays with that nastiness that the NFL loves, as I've been saying this whole video. He's very disciplined with his technique and hardly loses on the outside, which says a lot. Guy is not playing probably the position he's going to play in the NFL. Never loses on the outside despite that. He has, again, when it comes to his length, it's less than desired. Not going to be a tackle. Dude's going to move inside. Has a perfect build for a guard. And dude's been praised for his work ethic by coaches. Big fan of BB. Going to my number 2 or 2A. It's Andrew Vorhees. I'm a sucker for Vorhees. If you were following me during the draft process last year, you knew I was a sucker for Vorhees. I had a day 2 grade on him. So let's kind of get into some of his background. As he was a 4-star recruit from the 2017 class. He graduated a semester early to enroll early there at USC to enroll in the spring. And he started the final 9 games of the 2017 season at right guard. He had knee cartilage surgery in the spring of 2018, but managed to still start 11 games there at right guard as a sophomore. He also got married in 2018, so belated congratulations. In 2019, he started as a backup before suffering an ankle injury in the second game, and it ended his season. He chose to redshirt 2019 because of it. And in the shortened Pac-12 season in 2020, he moved to left guard and played very well in 5 games. In 2021, he started the first 8 games at left guard before being moved to left tackle for the final 4. And you know what? The dude played spectacular. Like, I was like, man, I think this guy could probably play tackle in the NFL. It was kind of wild. He was a 3rd-team All-American and a 1st-team All-Pac-12 in 2021. Like I said earlier, likely would have been a day 2 pick in the 2022 draft class, but he decided to return with the extra eligibility granted because of the COVID year. Honestly, I thought he should have came out, but I think he wants to return. I think he's very loyal to USC, so I don't know. We'll see. But let's talk about why I love this guy, because there's a lot to talk about. I think he has the meatiest. I think this is probably the guy I wrote the most about for this summer deep dive. He has just been one of the most reliable offensive linemen in the nation. He's played both sides of the line, both right and left, and he showed that he has the movement skills to play tackle as well. Likely a guard in the NFL, but I think he could play tackle if he wanted to in the NFL. He's a mauler in the run game, and he's been opening up running lanes for years. He plays with a hot motor, gets to the second level, looking for someone just to hit. He has mitts that are like handcuffs. Good luck breaking free. Counter plays are a treat on the eyes, because like I said, man, this guy's got good movement skills, and he flies to his assignment, man. He's quick, he's smooth. As a pass blocker, he hardly ever concedes too much ground at the point of attack. Like, he has a good job of anchoring down, and if he has to, he does a good job of resetting that anchor. He's just darn near impossible to remove when that's the case. Like, even if he gives you a little bit, gives you maybe a foot or two, like, that's about all that you are getting. This dude's also just so aware of his surroundings that he will make plays on other players' lapsed assignments. Like, I saw that constantly last year, where he was like, yo, where you at, bro? Bam, lays the block. Like, this dude's just so aware of his surroundings. I love it. Now, my biggest con that I wrote down was like, I don't know why you returned. He's going to be one of the older prospects in this class, in this interior class, as by the time of the 2023 season opener in the NFL, he's going to be 24. At his height, he really has to work hard to get leverage there at 6'6", and will sometimes concede ground because of it. But I'm a huge fan of Vorhees. You could go back to my before the summer started, where I did mock draft with Alex from Hail Mary podcast and or Hail Mary Sports. Excuse me, Alex, I didn't mean to get that wrong. But where I was just like, I love this guy, I love this cat. And then my number one's a little bit of a projection, but I think it's the right move. It's Layden Robinson at Texas A&M. Dude was a former 3-star recruit out of the 2019 class, and he only saw the field his freshman season in blowouts versus Lamar and UTSA. He did earn Offensive Scout Player of the Year for the Aggies, and then he played in 10 games in 2020. Only had 33 offensive snaps at right guard, so it was just like, okay, whatever. But he started in 10 games at right tackle in 2021. He missed a couple early on because of an ankle injury, but he looked very impressive in those 10 games. This dude just is looking to kill people. This dude's a murderer. Like, not off the field, but on the field, he's a murderer. Like, you're not going to find anyone more physical, or at least more physically imposing in this class. Like, this guy just has that killer instinct that NFL teams are going to look at and they're going to be like, hell freaking yeah. They're going to love this dude's demeanor. They're going to love his length. They're going to love his thickness. Like, a lot about this guy is NFL ready. He's fast out of his stance. He's quick to get to the second level. He was among the leaders in big time blocks in college football. In the passing game, he's quick enough to mirror defenders and will rarely get knocked back once he sets his anchor. From his build to his length to his power, he's just NFL ready. If Kenyon Green could go top 15 like he did this past season, and then Robinson definitely is a first rounder. Robinson, though, he is a work in progress when it comes to his pass protection. He reacts to what he sees rather than anticipating where pressure may be coming from. Part of that, I really think, is just inexperience, and I could really see him cleaning up that part of his game this year, as he will be the full-time starter this season. His hands, they could be a bit more accurate in pass protection and a bit more precise. There are times where he just gets stuck in the mud after initial contact, and like I said earlier, I love guys that just never stop their feet. They just keep churning, and that, again, that's something he needs to work on. Kind of nitpicking in this one area, but man, I'm a huge fan. Let's go ahead and get into some of the guys that I didn't mention on this list, as I went over 20. I currently have 20 guys ranked in this interior class, so I just want to go over a couple. As there was Caleb Chandler, who as of now is the oldest prospect in this class out of Louisville. Long, athletic, good movement skills, but you're gonna kind of wonder about I question his physicality going into the NFL. There's the Virginia transfer that's going to be at Michigan this year. Olusegun Oluwatimi. There we go. I wrote down the pronunciation. I'm a big fan. He's a big power blocker. That's kind of what he is. He's a bit average in that. He's a bit average when it comes to like movement skills and such, but like he's just a good football player, a guy you want on your squad. Big fan. And then there's also, this is probably the last name I'm gonna go over, a guy that probably honestly could have came out last year, Jordan McFadden. He plays tackle for Clemson. Dude's likely gonna move to the interior in the NFL just because of his build. They're at 6'2", 300 pounds, but he has been like the only good offensive lineman the past couple of seasons for Clemson. So the guy's played good. probably gonna be more of this mid day 2 pick, and I'm really looking for guys to emerge. I mean, there's a lot of guys I still need to go over. Like I'm really excited to go over Clark Barrington out of BYU, still on the list. I got a couple of Ohio State prospects. I want to go back over because I saw that Mel Kiper was pretty high on this Trevor Dowden out of Iowa State. And what I'm expecting from him is very good in the run game, or very bad in the run game, because Iowa State's run blocking was terrible. But it looks like he was actually a pretty solid pass protector last year for Iowa State. So I'm expecting a very good pass protector, just terrible against the run. But we'll see. We'll see. If Mel Kiper was high on him, I want to see why. But hey, stay tuned for edge rushers tomorrow. That's it for me. It's been great. It's been fun. It's been real. But until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.